2021. Sorry, game person.
Game man.
All right. Welcome to Retro Specs.
He can't even say it because he's thinking about game man.
What a start.
I know, right?
It's 2021, so it's time that we cancel the Game Boy, all right? It's game person. No, I don't like this intro at all. Can we stop doing this?
Keep going.
No, we're talking about the Game Boy from a little company called Nintendo. And kind of the history of it. Kind of like, if you listen to our NES episode a few weeks ago, or a few months ago now, number one, you should listen to it. It's very in-depth. But it's kind of going to be the same thing. Talk about a little bit about the history. I will tell you this. The Game Boy launch and kind of, it wasn't as dramatic as the NES was. There wasn't like... nobody would carry it, and therefore, they had to beg some store in some random city to do a trial run on it. No, at this point in 1989, the Nintendo Game Boy was a much sought after product with the success of the NES. But we'll get to that here in a second. I am Jimtendo86. I've got with me a full house of Ed, Andrew, Justin, of course. Hi. Todd's here. Nick's here as well. Welcome, everybody. I appreciate you guys being here on this Sunday. So as is tradition, and we'll kind of just hit it real quick. Who wants to start? What have you guys been playing?
Halo.
Oh, wait. Whoa. What Halo?
So beat 2 anniversary Thursday, playing through 3 now.
Because would you believe you're playing it wrong?
3 is my favorite. 3 is my favorite, and I will cancel you for that.
Is it that cursed Halo thing you were talking about?
Nick, yeah, you can segue into this with me if you'd like.
I forgot to check it.
Damn it, Nick! Check it now.
Wait, how am I playing it wrong though? What the hell?
Just give it a minute, Justin. They're gonna tell you.
Go ahead and finish it off. We'll segue into our thing.
But yeah, Halo and Bravely Default 2. That's it.
So Bravely Default 2. So that did that just drop? Because I feel like
it's new, right?
2-3 weeks old. Yeah.
2-3 weeks old.
Yeah.
Holding up.
It's a Japanese RPG. It's Final Fantasy-esque with a class system. If you played FF5 or 3,
it's got a cool job system too.
Yeah, if you played Final Fantasy 3 or 5, or the old Bravely Default games, or that as well.
How old are we?
I was about
we
to
go
say,
from
that
game.
sounds like
we go from gay
tactics more than
boys.
anything.
So
the job system and actually, I'm glad I didn't buy Bravely Default 2 when it came out, because I don't think I'd be happy with it.
I'm loving it.
I do want to play it, but I'm a big story guy, and I know JRPGs oftentimes don't have the strongest story. But from everyone that I trust online, as far as like people who talk about games, say that the story is less than that of like almost every other JRPG, and that it makes up for it in like the job system and the class system and how that works. But the storyline, the presentation, like the little weird, and Justin will know what I'm talking about, but like the little weird like dialogue scenes are apparently fucking bullshit.
So I don't play it in English anyways. I turned off voices and put it in Japanese.
Motherfucker. I don't play it in fucking English. Okay.
No, actually,
Nihongo ga hanasemasu ka?
He's right, I do, actually, so thank you.
That was a question, pal.
Yeah. Damn it!
Yes.
No, the bad Cockney accents turned it off for me super quick, and as soon as that was a thing, I was like, yep, I'm just going to go into Japanese and enjoy some Japanese.
To be fair, that's how I was with the Trials of Mana, the remake on the Switch, which I did finish, by the way. It's excellent. I think I talked about that, though. The English voice acting is I would say, in the so bad it's good category. But after a while, it got so bad that I switched it over to Japanese. And here's the thing. It could be just as bad in Japanese, but I wouldn't know. In English, I know this is fucking bad. I know that this is corny as fuck, and so I switched it over to Japanese. So I don't know. So I'll just take your word for it that the Japanese is better.
So why am I playing Halo wrong? We never got the answer to that.
Okay,
we'll get there.
Cool. No. I can go into it. That's fine. So some years ago, either a year or 2 years ago, Nick found a mod that someone made called Cursed Halo.
Oh God!
And it is fantastic. You can play it in a first-person scenario, or not first-person, but the one-player scenario, the story, or you can play the multiplayer with Cursed Halo. Now, Cursed Halo, what that entails is the most ridiculous things you can think of. All of your weapons are different. Everything still plays the same, but like, say, for instance, your battle rifle.
Yeah.
So now it's a minigun. So you just hold on to the trigger and you're just shooting forever until it runs out of bullets.
That sounds awesome. That sounds way better than regular Halo.
That sounds like that last scene in Halo Reach,
mm-hmm.
where like you're dropped on that island, you just kill as many people as you can. Like there's no ending. It's just basically when you die. That's what that sounds like to me.
Is he just throwing his pistol?
Yes. Your pistol actually, the barrel's pointed towards you. So if you shoot, you're shooting yourself.
Oh my god! These I'll say it like I do every single week.
Oh my god! These
9
graphics.
o'clock p.m. Central Time is when we stream this live on Twitch.
Every other Sunday.
Every other Sunday. Well, we stream every Sunday, or no, not every Sunday.
No, we don't. That's why I say
every
other Sunday.
Saturdays. Every other Sunday. Twitch.tv /Ranting Media. We're watching some Curse Halo. I also love the Doom or id inspired hands and weapons.
Yes, that was going to be the next one. Is you that one particular weapon does that.
Actually. Okay, I just got out of it, and yes, Curse Halo does work.
Awesome. I know we talked about a couple of things to do this month on like my Monday stream, but I would also like to get as many people as we can.
Do I have to own the Master? Is it playable on the Master Chief Collection?
Here's what's fantastic. You don't have to spend a dime. There's I put out a thing on our Slack, and I'll put it out again later on.
Yeah, if you can pull that back up.
Yeah. So basically, this guy, he basically made it a way to where you just fucking download a bunch of shit and you're good to go.
What is up with the needler?
The needler, all the needles just bounce around.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
This sounds amazing.
What is this, shotgun?
Yeah. The shotgun, it's a blunderbuss. So
why is there a random D20?
Because you can get the D20 grenade, actually.
a Minecraft bow and arrow?
Yes, you do have Minecraft weapons. There is even a Minecraft level.
Minecraft diamond sword.
Yeah. So,
can I say something real quick that has nothing to do with any of this?
Yeah.
Why is there not like a nerd-themed boy band called D20?
D20. Oh wow.
Well, there's a rap band called D20.
That was called D12.
D12. Shit.
Yeah. Oh my god, Justin.
And
Dutch
his credit is gone. By the way, that song reappeared on TikTok a lot recently.
Justin, really? There's an impression I need to hear from you.
Oh my god.
No, I don't even know what you're talking about, but no.
Oh, yes. Yes, we all need to hear this.
So, but with the Cursed Halo thing, there's a whole links you can get. You can download just a couple different files. It's literally drag and drop a couple of things. If I can do it, anybody can do it.
Talk about it. You built your own computer, dude.
Okay, well, hang on. I had help. A lot of it. But yeah, like the thing is, the trick is getting a key to play Halo on your computer, which thankfully there's just a guy on Steam right now who's just like, I have unlimited uses on my key, so just go nuts.
I'm pretty sure Gearbox could give two shits about a product key from 20 years ago.
Gearbox?
Gearbox published Halo Combat Evolved on PC.
Oh wow, did not know. So, but yeah, no.
There's a Patreon for Cursed Halo. This is awesome.
And that's the thing that's really great about it is because it's a Patreon, but he made it accessible for everybody. You can just go into it, and like if you wanted to give him money, he's more than happy to do it. He does get sponsorship in it. There is a new health item in there that is just an energy drink that you can chug.
Wow, I'm getting some Death Stranding vibes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, like that is one that I would love to get as many people from Ranting Media on as possible, because I feel like just a good multiplayer night with us playing Cursed Halo be fantastic.
we would all be on the same skill level, because how good you were in Halo does not mean anything.
So unfortunately, you can't put Cursed Halo into the Master Chief Collection because Microsoft doesn't like fun.
No. So that's what I'm saying. You don't need to spend money to play this. Everything is available to download just on the internet.
Arms?
Because what the big thing was you could dual wield in Halo 2. Well, this is Halo 1. You can't dual wield. We triple wield.
So, Jesus Christ.
God damn it. Shouldn't that be in Halo 3, sir?
What?
Halo what now?
Not a Cursed Halo 2. I don't know. Fuck.
But yeah, Cursed Halo. That's something I've been playing off and on. I've just been real busy with school, so
it's really flapping its wings.
Oh yeah, they flap.
Dude, I love this.
It flies, doesn't it?
How do you think that happens?
I love
it
the
wants to
needles.
fly.
Oh, God.
What's funny is like I've still got my Halo disc with its own license key.
Yeah, same.
Oh God.
It's probably at my mom's house still. I was thinking about that the other day, but jeez, is that a flamethrower that's in the skin of a sniper rifle?
Is he dancing?
No, I think it's the minigun that Andrew was talking about.
Yeah, because I picked up a flamethrower, but then it was a super soaker.
It turned into the super soaker. Yeah. But you can charge it up, and you can do like Flood from what's the fucking game? Super
Mario Sunshine.
Yeah, Sunshine. Thank you. So it's
search for additional meat. Jesus Christ. This looks amazing.
Yep. Oh, like so, but yeah, no, guys, definitely play this game with me, please.
Yeah, I'll totally do that. Actually.
Who's next?
Let's see. I'm pretty light on this one because I've just been playing Deep Rock, Payday, and since the last time we were on, I was playing Valheim, but I kind of got bored of it. So now I'm just playing Deep Rock and Payday. I was thinking about going into GTA again, just because of the new load times.
It's not in yet.
But I don't care. Even with the fast load times, it's
I thought that they announced that was coming out on the patch that went live on Thursday.
Oh, there was a patch on Thursday?
Yeah, there's a patch that went out Thursday.
Yeah, I didn't know, but I just downloaded the update for GTA, and then I said, okay, I'll start this, but I don't want to play GTA Online.
No. I guess I'll go. So, yeah, since last time, I was playing some fucking bullshit-ass game.
Oh, shit.
What game?
That people were like, oh, it's so fucking good. And then I'm like, no, this is just straight trash. I'm talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Hey-o!
It's good. I like it.
No. Fuck you. No, it is not good. If I can't summon Ifrit to kill a fucking spider, it is not good. Yeah.
I don't know why you need Ifrit to do that, just for the record.
I don't need him to do it. I want him to do it.
It's a show of dominance.
That's a de-evolution of a game, all right?
Exactly.
So they just remove your ability to do something?
You can't summon until the end of the game.
No, you can summon. You can summon. Okay. You just have to be like 10 minutes into a fight, and you can only summon once.
Oh, they did the Final Fantasy 15 thing.
No,
15
was
weird.
Random.
Yeah.
15 was completely random.
No, there were conditions.
Oh,
yeah, you had to be like losing a lot.
Yeah, let me see if I can find those.
Yeah, you had to be losing. There was
got his flower stepped on, dumbass.
It was very like you had it's like you're saying, you had certain things that had to be met for just and it wasn't even one you got to choose, but a summon would just show up, and so that was like.
Titan may grant you the ability to summon when your allies start to fall.
Yeah.
Rama may grant you a summon during battlehood, with the likelihood increasing the longer you've survived. Leviathan will only grant Noctis the ability to summon when Noctis is in danger. Shiva...
when you're feeling a little horny.
Basically, yeah. There was only like specific summons.
And then you have to fight Ifrit.
Uh-huh.
I mean, spoiler, but it's in the beginning, so chill.
Yeah.
That sounds even worse.
Spoiler of a damn like 25.
Oh no, you fought Bahamut.
Yeah, this is a 5-year-old game.
I don't remember.
In 15?
Yeah, you fought Bahamut at the end.
You fought Bahamut in the. I don't remember.
No,
in the future, like the premonition type of thing.
Oh yeah,
that was Ifrit. Oh, he's right. And then they go back in time for the boys' road trip.
And then, you also fight Ifrit first thing in Final Fantasy VIII as well. One of the first things you fight.
Is Final Fantasy 15?
I thought there was Quetzalcoatl.
No, you were given.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
you're given Shiva and Quetzalcoatl.
Okay.
Which was the one that you got for playing the demo? That was
demo.
Carbuncle.
That was Carbuncle that you got for playing the platinum demo.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about Final Fantasy VII. I was like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
You got the demo. You got the demo for Final Fantasy 12 if you played Dragon Quest VIII on the PS2.
I remember that.
That sounds like a character that's a cartoon moose. Carbuncle?
Was Carbuncle equally useless in that game as he was in 8?
He's a defense summon.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yes.
So yeah, I was playing that and just hating most of it. Like, it looks great, but then I see some fucking Sephiroth wannabe on a bike fighting me.
The Reno and Rude boss fight were kind of cool. I like that.
Barrett talks too much. Badly too.
The voice actor's not great. I didn't like him.
It is not. And then
Justin, what does Barrett sound like?
Oh, nope. He sounds like my bad Mr. T impression. I'm gonna leave it at that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, what about his Stanley impression?
Oh no.
Yeah, that's what we're all here for, Justin.
That's why we're all here. This is what changed the title of the episode. Boom.
But yeah, and then I got to the point where they're supposed to die, and then Wedge lives. I'm like, no, I'm done. I'm done.
Wedge ain't kill
I need to just stop and start playing some other shit. Jim, ask your question.
Is Final Fantasy 15 worth $17.50?
Yes.
Not on Steam. It's worth
not on Steam.
Not on Steam. PC version's way too difficult to run.
Oh yeah, I struggled with getting it to run properly.
All right, okay. Fair enough.
That's one of the reasons why I upgraded my card to the 20 whatever I have.
But on like PS4, if it was like $20,
I'll lend it to you, and you can play it for the hour that you'll play it, and then be like, I'm done.
Not flaunt my
it's
good,
not that great.
Good luck.
It didn't look good.
But could I run it on PC?
Yes.
My computer can. My computer can run it with a 1070. That's like the minimum, but it's no better than a PS.
I'm fairly confident Jim has like a 1050.
Oh, that's what I have. Yeah.
1050s are weird because they're relatively similar to 970s, and that game struggled with the 970.
Yeah, what graphics card is in your Chromebook, Jim?
Yeah.
What about in your DS, in your Game Boy?
Yeah, can your Switch run?
No, you mean the Retro Boy that he talks about?
I love my Retroid Pocket too.
That's
but no. I mean, trust me. I've been gaming a lot on my laptop lately, so just because I've been playing. So for me, or Ed, were you finished?
No, so I finally finished the Resident Evil 7 DLC. Yesterday, I knocked out Resident Evil Revelations, and then today I'm almost done with Revelations 2.
Jeez.
Damn.
Okay.
Caught up, catching up.
I was gonna say you're getting ready for 8.
I'm probably not gonna get it when it drops, though.
Really?
But
yeah,
big titty goth girls.
I'm
9 feet tall.
Don't buy games at launch.
Yeah,
because we all know why.
Because they
Cyberpunk 2077.
Like the Game of the Year edition is going to come out next year with all the fucking DLC for $40.
Yeah,
I'm actually really glad I did not buy Cyberpunk at full price.
That's my last one. I've said it. That's the last one I'll buy at full price. I'm done.
Yeah.
Hey, I've been preaching a motto for years, and y'all don't heed.
I'm there too. Only if there is like a special reason to get it, like a thing that you get for free. But you gotta know it's gonna be a game that you are gonna love.
3 Nocturne HD
but
remaster.
See, now that I know you don't get shit with it, who cares?
I mean, the fact that it's going to the fact that
you I don't know anybody who could speedrun that game.
Yeah, I don't either.
But what I have been playing is just because I did get a new job, so I have been super busy with that, working from home and everything like that. Which I know for some reason that sounds like a dream, but for me, it's been a fucking nightmare. I have the hardest time separating my home life and my work life. And now that they're in the exact same place, like, it's even worse. But I have been playing, and I'm almost done with Ys Origin on the Vita. So I've been playing that. And that's just me trying to finish all of the Ys games. And then I'm also working on Ys 9, but I kind of stalled out on that. But the game that I've been playing a lot of, that I've been enjoying the most, is... Shut up, man. It is John o'clock all the time. Is I have been playing just because it is a game that I did get on day one, but because I've been having just so much fun with it, and that has been oh my god, why can't I think of the goddamn name of the game?
Wow.
Did you even really play it?
Yeah, it's Retromania Wrestling.
Are you sure this
is it worth it?
Yeah, 100%. Now, it's 100% worth it if you want number one, you have to be into, like, indie wrestling. You have to know that the DLC is going to round out the roster quite a bit. But if you just want a shut your brain off, play a wrestling game that really isn't affiliated with any one organization. So you've got people that are involved, with the NWA, in some instances with AEW, in one instance with somebody who's currently signed to WWE. So,
I love that.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
World Order?
That is.
Well, the BWO. See, that was an ECW property that that went wayward. So, I mean, I love that it's not affiliated with one company. It's I believe, like a sequel to Saturday Night Slam Masters, but like the fact that I can play a game with like the Road Warriors, the BWO, I can play a game with fucking Matt Cardona, but then also Tommy Dreamer and Nick Aldis, the Real World's champion. So that game's been a lot of fun. It's got like a story mode version, which is entertaining. It's got, of course, exhibitionists. You can do Royal Rumbles. You can do steel cage matches. There's one that I haven't jumped into, which is like the 10 pounds of gold.
That's the story.
No.
Yeah, it is.
No. Go if you look at the main menu, there is the story mode, and then underneath it, it's like 10 pounds of gold mode, which I think is like a tournament style thing.
That's Zack Sabre Jr.
Story for the 10 pounds of gold is you playing as Johnny Retro to get the only belt he's never gotten.
Yeah, so then I don't know why they're separated then on the menu, but they are.
Okay.
So I don't really know, but all I know is I've done some of the storyline mode where basically you're and it's funny because like Stevie Richards, who's in the BWO, owns a very famous wrestling gym in Louisiana, and like you're wrestling at that gym. But I love the graphics. I love everything about it. It's like a non-isometric Fire Pro Wrestling type game.
Is that gym sponsored by Pro Wrestling Tees?
Yeah. There's
They recently were hiring for a position I would have been perfect at, but you have to move to Chicago.
They also have a stage dedicated to their major wrestling figure podcast that I thought was hilarious.
Absolutely, with Matt Cardona and Brian Myers. Absolutely.
Yep.
So that's what I've mainly been playing.
Basically, WrestleFest, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was
it's
WrestleFest.
the sequel. Yeah. It's like the spiritual successor for it, and they do a great job.
They're gonna do a creator wrestler from what I saw. So
I hope. Oh, awesome!
I think that'll be great whenever they drop that.
It is coming out. Like it's not. First of all, and if you're watching the stream, I love they went with the blue steel cage.
Yeah.
Which is what the WWF used as their cage for years.
Was there a reason for it?
I think it was cheaper.
Oh.
But if you look at, like, say, the main event of WrestleMania 2, it was Hulk Hogan versus King Kong Bundy in the steel cage.
I was about to say that's not even.
Wait, blue steel is cheaper than regular steel?
Well, no, it's you gotta. It's just the way that they made it.
How many Zoolanders did it take?
If you're looking at the screen, notice it doesn't look like a regular steel cage. Like it's got these.
Yeah, it looks like a video game.
Yeah, exactly. But that's really what that cage looked like. It had these giant footholds. It wasn't like a chain link fence sort of thing.
Yeah, see, I thought it was for that reason. Like they needed bigger footholds.
Because they couldn't climb fences and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at a lot of like modern day steel cage matches, they have the footholds like cut out of this cage. Yeah. Like, so if you want to get that spot in where you're jumping off the fucking top of the Hell in a Cell and stuff like that. Yeah. See, yeah, there you go. If you're watching the stream, King Kong Bundy versus Hulk Hogan WrestleMania 2 was that cage.
What else you been playing, Jim?
God, have I been playing other stuff? I got an R4 card for my DS. So I played a little bit of Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story, which is fun.
Great.
Oh, nice. I like it. Well, I haven't played that one. I played the other two.
That's fun. All right, who's next?
I think that was it. Todd, right?
Todd.
Oh, most of the people on this podcast convinced me to get Game Pass. And because of that, I've been playing Dead Cells mostly all week.
Yeah, man.
Good game.
Dead Cells is so good.
Game of the year from like 2 or 3 years ago.
Dead Cells. So good. Hey, Todd, now that you've played both, what's better, Dead Cells or Hades?
Ooh.
I like the gameplay loop of Dead Cells better. I like the art style of Hades better.
Michael from the Rant On podcast is who convinced me to get Dead Cells for the second game I ever bought for the Switch. Yep.
Yeah, actually, I think you were the reason I played it. Was
nice.
You told me about it and I bought it.
That game, I have a little carrying case for my Switch that has like 8 game card slots. And I have a shit ton of physical games. That's always in my rotation. Like, just if I just want to shut my brain off and play a game to see how far I can get, Dead Cells is it.
You're saying that's in your top 8?
Oh, man. Wow. Oh, a Switch top 8, man. That'll be a subject of what's your top 8 of video games?
No.
That's great.
Well, Tom is always there, just
Tom has
out
to
of
be
respect.
Wait,
all right.
What about my Fave 5?
No, that's
T-Mobile. That's T-Mobile. All right, so let's get into the topic. The reason why we did the what are you playing is because the Game Boy history isn't as controversial. I mentioned it before. It's when I was putting together kind of like a timeline of events, I'm like, where's the drama? There's just not a ton of drama with the release. I think that's why I also wanted to do maybe a Master System episode, just because there was drama when that was built, especially in the United States, of how little it sold, and then basically Sega was saved by the European audience because they loved the Master System. But yeah, I mean, if you are of a certain age, you have either had a Game Boy, you've certainly played a Game Boy, and you're familiar, or you're at least familiar with it. But kind of to get started, basically kind of the roots of the Game Boy was founded in 1979. Gunpei Yokoi, you've all heard of Gunpei Yokoi. He was basically a janitor working for Nintendo that moved his way up from that position onto research and development. He invented things like the Game Boy, for instance. He invented the Game & Watch. He invented, sadly, the Virtual Boy, which is what actually made Gunpei Yokoi. It's kind of a sad story. He actually resigned from Nintendo in disgrace. So left Nintendo after the Virtual Boy did so poorly. Then I can't remember the company that he went to, but basically he invented a new. Huh?
He went to Bandai.
Yes, you're correct.
It was the Wonder Swan.
He invented the Wonder Swan. Which, if you don't know what the Wonder Swan is, you're not alone. Don't sweat it or anything. It was a Japanese-only handheld that was very unique. I have a ton of Wonder Swan games that I play on my little Retroid Pocket that I absolutely adore. But basically, kind of the same idea. No backlighting. In fact, they have a crystal version that actually was the only one that had a backlight. We'll maybe touch on the Wonder Swan a little bit later, but it's kind of an interesting system. Gunpei Yokoi was sadly killed in a car accident kind of right after the Wonder Swan first came out. So we never really got to see the success. And even though we didn't have it over here, the Wonder Swan was a successful system in Japan. But how Game Boy kind of came about was Gunpei Yokoi in 1979 was commuting to work on a train. And basically it was taking a little bit longer than normal. There were some businessmen sitting in front of him that were literally just messing around on an LCD calculator. Like we all have done. We've all fucking typed in boobs on a calculator. I don't know if that's what they were necessarily doing.
Yeah, I don't think that translates in Japanese very well.
But they were doing
English
something
they care
like
about.
that. So they were messing around with it. And that kind of, convinced him or made him think like, I want to invent something that a business person could pull out on a train and to entertain himself. He had actually initially envisioned what would be called the Game & Watch as a wearable tech, as like a watch. But yeah, obviously I think in 1979, 1980 that really wasn't something that was viable at the time. But in 1980, the first Nintendo handheld Game & Watch was released. It was, if you've never seen it, it's a little single, facing device. Some instances dual screen, which would then come back later into Nintendo's world as the DS. So it's the first time if you ever look at some of those older Game & Watches and it looks like the DS, yeah, absolutely it was. But they were single game devices. They didn't have any cartridges. They weren't interchangeable or anything. You basically got one game with maybe a couple different variations on it. There were 60 total systems that were available. Some of them are very rare and expensive these days. But yeah, some of them, like I said, have folding dual screens. That was also the first implementation of the D-pad. So if you look at, say, a Nintendo controller, or you look at any video game controller, and you see the D-pad, and you just think, oh, that's just the way the controller was. Well, really, the first iteration of the D-pad was on the Game & Watch. So if you look at some of the base ones like ARMS and stuff like that, there wasn't, or I think it's called Ball. It doesn't have the D-pad. It literally has just a left and a right analog stick. But yeah, that was kind of the envision of the original Game Boy, was that Game & Watch.
And videos declined since then.
And they obviously just, for Mario's 35th anniversary last year, they re-released a Game & Watch that has built in the Super Mario Brothers 1. I'm sorry, my dog is having a freaking sneezing attack. Good God.
Did anybody besides me get that? Like,
no, I got it.
No, I heard.
I got it.
What? Hear the dog?
Lily plays it a lot. She loves it because it's.
I have one too.
Okay, I just thought I didn't want to be the only one.
No.
And I didn't buy it.
It's a little expensive, but it's a cool little thing to have on the shelf. But it basically has Ball on it, and then it has Super Mario, 1
and Lost Worlds,
and 2
Lost
or
Levels.
Lost Worlds or whatever.
Lost Levels, yeah.
So it's pretty cool. Again, it's a cool little nifty, tiny little thing to have on your shelf if you're a collector or anything.
I wanted it to be able to do the time, like all the time,
Oh, like have it be like a clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to charge it. I mean, unless you had it plugged in.
I mean, yeah, but like I honestly thought there was like a way you could stand it up.
Oh, you guys
so it's like a little
you'd almost have to get
feature.
like an easel.
Yeah, you almost need like
I'll
an
shoot
easel.
you.
Yeah. It literally is just a button.
I was watching a YouTuber who I'll send it to you. He has like a polyurethane or whatever it is, the clear plastic stand that snakes a USB through it, and he leaves it as an alarm clock. I thought it was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool because it does look cool when it's showing the time. But yeah, so that kind of was the start of that. So the Donkey Kong Game & Watch was the first one that had the D-pad on it, by the way. So with that being so successful, that kind of funded and helped Nintendo gain notoriety and be able to release the NES in the United States, which, like I said, go back and listen to our NES episode. It goes a little bit into depth with that. So yeah, Gunpei Yokoi is picked to head up development for the Game Boy. So his big idea, and this is where some people will disagree with the Game Boy and its success, but the Game Boy's big features were that it would be easy to use. He wanted good battery life, and he wanted the cost. He wanted the cost to be low. So, and I know you laugh, but in that time frame, the Game Boy would last, sometimes 15, 16 hours.
I was gonna say, like, compared to the Game Gear,
compared to the Game Gear or the Atari Lynx or the I forget the TurboGrafx one, but the TurboGrafx handheld. Like it's
now if you had that contrast cranked,
which lasted 3 hours. So, but how they did that, was making it that kind of green color and not having that backlight. The Game Gear, for instance, was huge. If you've ever played a Game Gear and a Game Boy, there's obviously a massive size difference. The Game Gear was the closest thing to like being a competitor to the Game Boy, and it didn't even come up with a fraction of what the Game Boy it sold as far as units and games goes. And the Game Gear, already had such a strong 8-bit library that they were constantly putting out games with the Master System. And then there was even a little unit you could buy to put into the Game Gear that would allow you to play every Master System game. So, the original Sonic the Hedgehog games, Ys, Golvelius, Golden Axe Heroes, stuff like that, all playable.
I was going to say, it all comes back around to Ys.
Dude, that might be my favorite video game franchise of all time. Like honestly,
more than Zelda? It
honestly might beat out Zelda. I don't know. Breath of the Wild, I know this is a hot take. Breath of the Wild was kind of a disappointment to me, and so I don't know. Maybe it does. But yeah, and even though somebody was like, well, what if they would have taken the backlighting out of it? Where would the Game Gear have gone with that much cheaper of a unit, but also one that would last much longer in the battery? Who knows? The other important thing was, and this might seem minor to you, but the Game Boy had a headphone jack. So that was the only way that you could listen to the music of the Game Boy in stereo. So imagine, we all have heard the Tetris song, but have we really heard the Tetris song? It's a completely different sounding song when you listen to it on the mono speaker on the front, which is how most of us listen to it, versus putting your headphones in and actually listening to it on a decent pair of headphones.
Yeah, but have you heard the Tetris song on weed?
Maybe.
Did you guys not get stuck in car rides for a long time?
Yeah. No,
I don't know. When I think about my Game Boy, I never plugged in headphones. But I don't think I had a pair of headphones.
Did anybody? Because the original, the DMG came with a pair of headphones.
I don't. If it did, I don't remember that at all.
So I was going to ask, because these unboxings that I'm seeing, it came with a link cable?
Yeah.
The original one I knew it came with a link cable, and I never once used it.
Which means
No one didn't have friends with Pokemon.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Which means I might have gotten mine hand-me-down, because I remember having to go buy a link cable.
I definitely had to buy a link cable as well, because mine was
It's either that or you guys like had the link cable but didn't have a reason to use it, and so it got lost somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, you also got to keep in mind, number one, I didn't know what the fuck Pokemon was until junior high school.
It's okay to be
But
wrong.
number two, when it comes to Pokemon didn't come out until what, 95, 96?
98 in the US.
98.
No, no.
Yeah,
Definitely.
95 in Japan, 98 in the US.
This is the one time where I'm going to say Justin is the expert.
Yep.
Well, Pokemon Red and Green came out in Red, Green, and Blue came
That's
out
Japan.
in 96.
In Japan. Look up
Is
the
that
US
right?
release.
Okay, all right. I apologize if I'm wrong.
Because it was 98
Wow, this guy totally fucked this Tetris roundup. Okay. Never mind.
Well, no, I know what he's waiting to do. He's waiting to fucking
get that big old Tetris.
He wants to get that. Oh,
Sometimes waiting for the Tetris is not the smart play, guys.
Wait, whoa, what the fuck? What is he
Nah,
doing?
He's not doing
he
any
knows what he's
T-spins.
doing. He knows what he's doing. But man, that fuck the T-spin. All right, go old school. I can't stand that shit.
you just. Anytime you can complete a line, you just complete the line.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
you don't
points with
build
the
up
T-spin.
that big score.
Well,
Why?
that's the thing. Original Tetris, you couldn't do a T-spin. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Well,
fuck that shit.
No, and we're gonna talk about Tetris.
I'm a purist.
If you're
Tetris.
the only Tetris that isn't there's two Tetrises that are not bullshit. One of which is the NES Tetris, and the other one is the Game Boy Tetris. Those are the only Tetrises that are real Tetris. Without
Tetris DS.
Well, the
Tetris
arcade.
DS.
Okay, fine, fair enough. No, because here's the thing about the DS
Who the hell
Tetris.
went to an arcade and played fucking Tetris?
I don't know.
I
But if you
I
play
did because it
Tetris
was
on a
in
DS,
color.
it tells you like what is coming next.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Bullshit. It's cheating.
All right,
Yeah.
fair
It
enough.
was up in the top right corner. It's like, hey, this is your next one.
But yeah,
That's
So,
like every Tetris game now, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the Game Boy was officially launched in Japan on April 21st, 1989. So they did an initial order run of 300,000 units, sold out in 2 weeks. Pretty good, right?
It's
It
okay.
launched in the U.S. July 8th of 1989, so a few months later, sold 40,000 units on day one. That's huge, because think about it. What?
This commercial.
Oh, the Link's Awakening commercial is amazing.
Oh yeah. Wow.
In 1989, there's no internet, there's no pre-orders. You're finding out about Game Boys in electronics magazines and Nintendo Power. That's who's talking about it.
was Nintendo Power out at the time?
Absolutely, it was.
Huh.
So you have that, and you still sold 40,000 units in day one. That was impressive, to say the least. The launch games for the Nintendo Game Boy was Alleyway, which is basically just a really bad Breakout clone. So bad that there's not even a music track. It's literally silence and then beep. It's Pong. It's Pong sounds, basically. Baseball, which is what it sounds like.
Wait,
What
is
is
it
it?
just called baseball?
It's just
Yeah.
called baseball, dude.
What do you
Okay.
do in it?
And tennis is
Play
just called
tennis,
tennis.
duh.
You play stickball.
Oh.
And tennis was a North American launch title only. There was a game called Yakuman, which was a Japanese launch title. It wasn't launched here in America. It's basically a Mahjong clone. And it's the only Nintendo Game Boy launch title to not feature Mario in some way. Then you had Tetris, which was North American and European only. And it ended up being the pack-in title for the Game Boy for pretty much almost all of its existence. That's why they sold so many copies. And then last but not least, Super Mario Land. Anybody have experience playing Super Mario
Yep.
Land?
Yeah.
They are
Abs-
fucking awesome.
So,
I'm going to talk a little bit about them in a little
Luigi
bit,
got
but
Mario's sloppy seconds.
it is. I mean, it's the you meet Daisy for the first time in Super Mario Land. It's just I don't know. That's why I think I like the Game Boy so much, because they had to do with what they had to do with, and they didn't have that that NES or and then later days Super Nintendo structure of having all these the pixel density within certain aspects and whatnot. So they created this a lot more floatier game with Super Mario Land. A lot more, everything looked like the mark blocks and stuff like that look a lot smaller, and you have to rely on it took you outside of the Mushroom Kingdom, and it took you to all these other places. I love Super Mario Land. I think they are fantastic.
Dude, 12-year-old Justin traded a copy of Pokemon Yellow for Super Mario Land.
Oh, wait. Who
Pokemon,
got Pokemon
Yellow came out. That was a Game Boy Color game.
So I had a copy of Pokemon Red, and I had a copy of Pokemon Yellow, and one of my friends in middle school was like, "I'll totally trade you," and I never got my copy of Pokemon Yellow back for Super Mario Land because I had 6 golden coins, and I was like, "Oh, I love 6 golden coins. It's got to be the same," and it was not the same.
No, and spoilers for ahead. 6 golden coins is like one of my favorite Game Boy games by far. Oh, love that game. So 1995, 1995 comes around. Nintendo releases the Play It Loud, which is exactly what we were just watching. The Play It Loud series of Game Boys. Basically, it was the exact same thing. It just was released in a variation of colors. So you also had a couple other variations. You had the original DMG, obviously released in 1989. You had the Play It Loud version, which was released in 1995. Came out in red, green, black, yellow, white, blue, and the most important color, clear. It kind of started, and it was nothing's more 90s than like the consoles or the controllers that were see-through.
Don't I know it?
So much so that the Game Boy Advance that I have, I just bought because I'm an adult. I bought 3 things with my stimulus money. I bought a washing machine, a new couch, and a bunch of shit to mod my Game Boy Advance with. So I'm gonna make that thing transparent. So that came out in 1995, which again, that's an entire new version of the console. 6 years after the release. Then you had the Game Boy Pocket, which came out a year later. Instead of it being $89.99, which was the original DMG price point, it was $69.99. It was smaller, nice. Lighter. It used fewer batteries, and instead of the green screen that we were all used to, it was a clearer black and white screen. So if for me, for instance, I am more used to that because I did have a Game Boy Pocket, and boy, do I miss that thing. But I came out in 1996.
Did yours come with a Donkey Kong Country Land 2 or Donkey Kong Land 2 as well, or no?
I don't remember. I don't remember at all. All I know is I got it because I was on vacation and I left my DMG at like a McDonald's or something. And then like just because I guess either my parents didn't want to fucking talk to me on the car ride, or we stopped somewhere and I ended up getting like the Pocket. But I don't remember. Ever getting a game with it for some reason. I do remember pulling over and getting it out of Toys R Us though. That was the only thing. And then the last iteration of the actual Game Boy, and obviously, we have the Game Boy Color that came out in '98. That's another system I think that's worthy to talk about, but that's completely different. But this one wasn't sold in the United States. And to me, that's a shame, but I understand why. But it was the Game Boy Light. So Game Boy Light came out in 1998, 9 years after the original release of the Game Boy. It was, like I said, Japanese only. It was actually slightly bigger than the Game Boy Pocket, and it had a backlight. It was the first Game Boy to include a backlight, and it used 2 AA batteries versus 3 AAA batteries from the Game Boy Pocket. So that's all the iterations of the Game Boy. Right now, if you are watching the stream,
I thought the color is constituted as a version.
Yeah,
we're not doing that.
Game Boy, so all the way up to SP.
Like the Game Boy Advance, I thought the color was released as an interim.
And again, and you guys can disagree, and that's fine. The way that I thought of it is like, because with all those iterations, you had branding as Game Boy, right?
Yeah.
Everything was Game Boy. When the Game Boy Color came out, you had Game Boy Color games, right? And you couldn't play those Game Boy Color games on a Game Boy.
I thought you could. I thought the only difference was if you played it on color, it had color palettes.
And I could be wrong, and this is something I probably should have looked up, but I don't think you can play a Game Boy Color game on a Game Boy. Now,
actually, no, Jim is right. You could not play Game Boy Color games because the original Game Boys, all the way up to the Game Boy Pocket, if you inserted a cartridge, it had a little lock on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
In a corner notch. The Game Boy Colors didn't have the space for that notch,
and
so
to
you
me,
couldn't lock it in.
That's what kind of separated those systems. Like the backwards compatibility, it being branded as a completely different thing. I think that truly is what stopped the original Game Boy, and we moved on to the second generation, which was the Game Boy Color, and then the Game Boy Advance. And I think those were the 3 iterations of the Game Boys.
Game Boy Advance games you could play on the original Game Boy.
Well, so I was confused because I know some...
You can play Game Boy games and Game Boy Color on an Advanced.
Yeah. No, original Game Boy could play up to DS games.
Shut up.
I guess I was confused because I remember certain Game Boy games being black instead of gray, and it
was because of the Pocket.
Yeah.
Oh, are you talking about the actual color? Oh, there were some games that were, absolutely, in different colors. I remember having a Donkey Kong game that was yellow.
Well, because if you put a regular Game Boy game on a color, sometimes it being color. Like if you put Pokemon Red or Blue on a Game Boy Color, it was tinted red or blue.
Yeah.
But it was released for the original Game Boy. So
okay, I'm reading about it. It was the black cartridges were Game Boy games that had color enhancements that were they were enhanced for the Game Boy Color, but there were
lots of the DX versions of games. And we'll get to we'll talk about some of them here in a minute. But so now we're going to talk about the best selling Game Boy games. And right up front, I don't think Tetris being number 1 at 35 million copies, that is technically number 1. I hate counting that because it's a pack and play game. To me, that doesn't count. Even though Tetris is absolutely incredible, anybody can play it at any gaming experience level. It's completely addicting. I play Tetris a few times a week for sure, while I'm just looking for some time to kill.
Yeah, but if you count Wii Sports, you got to count Tetris.
And I do, but I also wouldn't. If I'm doing a list of the top 5 selling Game Boy games, I'm going to maybe do 6 of them and have Tetris be its own thing, and then we'll count down from there.
Give credit where credit's due.
Pokemon, and I will. I love Tetris. I'm the first one to tell you how much I love Tetris. So, but coming in at a number, I guess number 6. Would be with 5,340,000 units from Nintendo R&D 1. Oh, Todd. If you're listening to the podcast, he pulled up the goddamn... All right, fine. So you've got Dr. Mario at almost 5.5 million. You've got Super Mario Land 2, the 6 golden coins, at a little over 11 million, which I love that fucking game. It's one of my favorite Mario games. You've got Pokemon Yellow at 14 million, almost 15 million. Then you've got Super Mario Land at just over 18 million. And then really, in my opinion, the best-selling game is Pokemon Red, Green, and Blue with a combined 31,380,000. Obviously, that doesn't surprise anybody.
I would say Yellow would technically be the highest-grossing single game.
Yeah, and that's fair. And that's fair, but I think the way that they did the marketing, or the way they did the financial reports, Game Freak did, it counted them all as one game. Because and Justin, you would be the expert here.
Yeah.
If do you get every iteration of the Pokemon games?
I buy one iteration per
generation.
So it's different now that
you have adult money.
Yeah, so I buy the release that interested me. Since Diamond and Pearl, I bought the color that interested me the most. So if it's Diamond and Pearl, I bought Pearl. Black and White, I bought Black. And then I'll usually go and find friends to trade with and everything. For Sword and Shield, I bought both Sword and Shield. I gave one to my girlfriend and was like, pick one. She picked which one she liked. And so Jess was like, I like Sausage Dog. And I was like, fine, I'll take Shield Dog.
Let's not talk about that here.
And then and then if there's a third version, I'll pick up the third version because the third version is usually the enhanced.
The best version.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
I was the same way. I bought blue first.
And then you got yellow.
And then I got yellow.
Yeah.
And then silver. And then whatever that one after was.
Was I the only
Crystal.
one that bought red?
No,
I had red.
So
Okay.
I was a dumb child, and I thought that red and blue were different. So
They
I
were.
had red and blue,
words.
gold, silver, crystal, and then I also had ruby and sapphire. Because at least ruby and sapphire tried to differentiate it with like different enemies.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's cool. But yeah, no, like it's whatever released pairs are constituted as a single unit, and then the third version falls into it. So by sales standards, red, blue, and yellow are technically considered to be a single purchase, but then Nintendo doesn't like to constitute yellow as a single purchase because it also ties into the anime.
Can
It's
we
not.
give some respect to Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters for making the top 20 in 2000?
Well, that's Game Boy Color.
Yeah, if you look at the system.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, again, it's tricky because Nintendo did a lot of where they would lump in Game Boy and Game Boy Color stuff.
Sorted it out.
So that kind of is the numbers by them. So I kind of want to hear from you guys. You know, what are some of your, and you can go around the room. I broke down 5 Game Boy games that are my favorite, but you guys can do whatever you guys want. But what are your favorite Game Boy games? And we'll start with Andrew.
So for me personally, I think the one I played a lot of, because like I didn't really have too many. I know you guys joke with the silver spoon scenario here, but I didn't really have too many Game Boy games. I had Donkey Kong 94.
Nice.
Nice.
Those games, okay, people will knock those games, the Donkey Kong games, because they released all 3 of them for the Game Boy.
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking about Donkey Kong Country or just Donkey Kong?
No, it's just Donkey Kong.
So okay. Never mind then.
Never mind. No. So it starts.
Jim was
out...
trying to give you more credit.
Oh, I know.
I was trying to hype you up and hype your decision up.
No, he's trying to say, man, why don't you have Donkey Kong Country? Broke ass.
No, so it started like the original Donkey Kong arcade, you know, so you're climbing up the thing, right? And then it grows into this big, long, like Donkey Kong Country where you're going to different stages within each level.
It's a lot of fun,
you know, and it's real fun. It's just like, yeah, it's fun. It's fantastic. You know, for a child, you know, it was enough to make me go, this game is terrible. I can't play it. I'm not having fun. To I'm a little bit older. I can handle this game now.
Yep.
You
just get better.
Yeah. And then like, obviously Pokemon. I had Pokemon as well. You can run that one on the green machine thing, the Brick Boy. But then like it wasn't long until then I would go to like, you know, the Pocket. That you were talking about.
Oh, you had a Pocket one?
I did have a Pocket.
Nice.
So if we're talking like overall with Game Boy, I've gone from the Game Boy, Brick Boy to the Pocket to the Color to the Advanced.
Nice. I never had a Color.
Yeah. The Color was really cool just because, like, yeah, that's when they started adding
color.
The color and backlight.
Man, it's such a big achievement when you introduce color to something.
No kidding.
Wait, the Color didn't have a backlight.
I thought it did.
Did not.
No, it didn't.
The
did
Game
not.
Boy Color does
The
not have a
SP
backlight.
So I never had an SP. You're exactly right, because now I remember the Advanced was like the only one.
Is the
like,
SP and the Micro.
Wait, the Advanced didn't have one too?
Nope.
No, it was just the SP.
Okay, well then I don't know which one I was able to play then, but whatever. But yeah,
did you have the backlight attachment thing?
I did not. No.
Okay.
The most accessory I had, like I was talking about, was the link, because you know when you're on the school bus and you got your Game Boy with, you know, and a link cable, you're just waiting for that sucker that's going to come by and run into your level 100 Charizard because you went around and surfing for missing no. So you wait for that scrub. But so that one I had blue. If y'all are wondering, my little brother had red. So we were able to kind of cover the field with the two of us and the link cable.
Did you ever get to complete the Pokédex?
No, I never completed the Pokédex in any iteration of Pokemon that I've ever played, and I'm just okay with that. I'm fine with that.
And I lived my life.
I continue to live.
Beginners.
Like whenever I was gonna play, whenever I was playing Shield, because our roommate got Sword. So when I started playing Shield, I'm like, I'm gonna fill out that Pokedex. I'm an adult man, and I can play
adult
games.
men. Two kids stacked on top of each other in a fedora.
Yeah. So no, I am fine with not filling out the Pokedex. The only other games that I really had that I remember, it would be like just Tetris. I'm sure there was other stuff I'm forgetting, but those are the three that really stood out to me as far as like, I'm playing the Brick Boy. These are the ones I can play. So,
real quick, did anybody have? And if you've sometimes, especially in those earlier days of video games, especially Nintendo, had some very outlandish accessories.
I know exactly which one you're talking about, and I did have it.
I had a weird one that you guys will probably.
I've got a few.
Okay, when we get to you guys, have that locked and loaded too.
I want to know.
Yeah, I want to know what you guys had.
I want to
know because there are some real weird ones, and obviously, Angry Video Game Nerd did a video on them too, and it's very funny. But there are some absolutely insane looking Game Boy accessories. One that makes it look like a fucking spaceship.
Nothing that outlandish.
No,
that's the one I had.
Did you really?
Mm-hmm.
No, he's screwing with you.
No, I'm not.
Andrew, what else you got?
That's about it. Because I tell me about these accessories.
Nick, go for it, bud.
All right, well, hold on. I'm looking for like a picture of it to send to you guys, or actually, no, I can.
Did you have? What it is. And I don't want to bury the lead.
The Handy Boy.
You had one?
In atomic purple.
That's phenomenal.
But I didn't have a Handy Boy until I got a Game Boy Color.
Okay. Still though, Handy Boys, like especially if you Google like what they look like for the DMG, it just is insane.
I feel like if you Google that phrase, you're going to come back with something very, very bad.
You get
something totally different. Which is not going to like you guys talking about that.
Yeah, I was waiting for the Handy Man, but that's all they had at Toys R Us.
Handy person, it's 2021, Nick, come on.
But so I had that. As far as the original Game Boy, if we're not going up to color, then I had the original Game Boy, because then I bounced all the way to color.
Okay.
And with the original Game Boy, the only two games that I can say I had a real memorable time with was, I think it was like Bugs Bunny and Castle Panic or something like that.
Castle, oh god,
Crazy
yes.
Castle.
Crazy Castle.
Yeah, it was that one and one called Mole Madness.
What the hell is this thing?
Or was it Mole Mania? I think that's what it was called. It was some little puzzle game, but oh god, it was just fun, and I think I actually beat the game with that. I played it so goddamn much, but then once I put that down, I said, you know what? I'm done with puzzle games. Fuck this. And but yeah, with Bugs Bunny, that was a good little game. It really wasn't until the Game Boy Color that I started getting like a lot more cartridges and stuff with. I'm pretty sure I had a bunch of I've played a bunch of other games, but there were probably at the time you could rent Game Boy games from Blockbuster. Oh, yes. And Pokemon. I forgot about Pokemon. Yeah, I played the fuck out of that. But yeah, at the time you could rent Game Boy games from Blockbuster, and it was always really weird when you go into a Blockbuster, rent a cartridge-based game, and somebody else's save file is on it.
Was always on it, yeah.
So you delete that bitch and be like, mine now for a week.
Did you ever like multi-rent a game hoping that your save data was still on there so you could beat it in 2 or 3 rents? Because I did.
Not because the only game I've ever rented twice was Assassin's Creed, and I regret that. And so it never happened again. Well, the only reason why I regret it, not because Assassin's Creed was a bad game, but it was a good game. It's just that I rented it, played the fuck out of it, and I didn't finish the story. So the second time I rented it, I only had like 1 mission left. So I had like 4 days left of me not needing to do anything else with it. So I kind of felt like I wasted that rental.
Fair enough.
But yeah, with the Game Boy, ooh, yeah, and then Pokemon, I can remember beating some scrubs. At the time, I did have a friend that we had the sleepovers and everything, and they were all into Pokemon. They were actually much better than me. Like they were probably on Justin levels of Pokemon fanatics because they actually went to tournaments and stuff. And so when I would play with them, like I was very much a scrub, but it was at the same time that the Missing No hack came around. So when I went to the sleepover, yeah, I had some bitch Pokemon, and everybody was like, "Oh yeah, I got this level 76 Charizard. You're far-fetched and gonna fuck with me." So I said, "Give me an hour."
Just give me the hour.
And I like shoved all those rare candies down a Blastoise's throat, and then I won. They're like, "Yeah, but you cheated though." And I said, "Well, yeah, but I won."
Real life, I won.
Yeah, I don't care if I cheated. History remembers the victors.
This is true.
Yeah,
but yeah, so that's kind of the only thing that I had about the Game Boy. A friend of mine had the Game Boy camera, and I fucked with that for a little bit, but
yes,
I never owned one.
Taught us all how to make selfies.
The best selfie machine in the bit. There's a back album, I think it is, that was the cover picture was taken on a Game Boy camera.
That doesn't surprise me.
I'll have to remember. I may have the artist completely wrong, but yeah, I remember reading that.
Yeah, I got a couple of stories about like Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance, but if we're not talking about those, then yeah, well, I'll save it for another one then.
Yep.
Another cast.
I can go.
Go ahead.
So, I had a grade DMG, and I remember getting that on Christmas Day with a Tom and Jerry game and Mario World 2 of all games. And
the first or the second one?
Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins.
Gotcha.
That was probably the most played game I ever had on that. Then a couple Christmases later, I got a Pocket with Donkey Kong Land 2, and I remember playing that like fucking crazy. And my dad freaking out because it didn't use the same batteries as my old Game Boy, so he had to go buy batteries. And then a Color, which we're not talking about. And I got that with Pokemon Blue, and then Advance. But weird accessories. I had a Spider-Man lamp that went on top of. I can't remember if it was Game Boy Color or Game Boy Pocket, but I had like a little Spider-Man thing that grabbed the top of your Game Boy, and his hands were lights. It was weird. And I loved it.
I've never heard of that. Interesting.
Yeah. I had to look it up to make sure I wasn't crazy. And I was like, Spider-Man lamp, Game Boy, and it's there. And I was like, yep, that was it. But yeah. Favorite games of all time, if we're not counting Game Boy Color games, is Tetris, because I remember being taught how to play that by like my brother-in-law at like 5 and not understanding it till I was like 13. So I always thought it was like a base building game, and then it would end really quick, and it'd be like, oh, whatever, that sucks. Yeah, I was not a bright child. That one, Mario Land 2 was another one that was up there that I really liked. I didn't have a lot of games. A friend of mine had a copy of Killer Instinct on the Game Boy that I really liked. And I was like, oh, this is dope. I can play Killer Instinct. And then I only played it like twice. But like for me, the like definitive Game Boy experience for me was Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow, and then Gold and Silver. Like so much of my adolescence and teenage life was Pokemon that I had a bunch of kids on my street, and I was the kid with the link cable for our pockets. So we were trading Pokemon. We all were able to complete the Pokedexes because I'd be like, I got blue version, I got Sandshrew, you got red version, you got Growlithe, I'll trade you right now. And we were doing stuff like that. We had Stadium we did it with, where we would take the Pokemon and play them in Stadium. And then Gold and Silver is just one of my favorite games of all time. Like I think we said it during like the thing we did with favorite games of all time. That's my favorite game of all time is Gold and Silver. Like it's to me the chef's kiss of video games.
I was going to ask you, like, if you were talking to somebody who's never played a Pokemon game, is that what you'd recommend?
I would say Gold and Silver because Gold and Silver.
Wait. Gold and Silver or Heart Gold and Soul Silver?
Game Boy Gold and Silver. Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Heart Gold and Soul Silver is great, but the problem is like there's certain things in Gold and Silver that were nerfed in Heart Gold and Soul Silver that like people need to experience. Like you need to experience Whitney's Milk Tank just steamrolling through
you. That's for the Game Boy Color, right?
It's technically a Game Boy game because it was playable on the Game Boy as well as Color. Because I remember it being played on an original Game Boy because a bunch of my friends didn't have colors and we would play it on Game Boy and Game Boy Color. And that was the one we never finished the Pokedex on because that was 100 new monsters and some of us didn't understand like you only got one metal coat and you couldn't use it for Scizor and also Onyx. So you get fucked and stuff like that. But yeah, that's always going to be like my cumulative like Game Boy experience is honestly Pokemon, and I will die on that hill that Pokemon is the greatest Game Boy game of all time.
I mean I can't argue with you. You know what I mean? Like it would be completely stupid to argue with you. Just
it's not Tetris.
The reason why I say that, well, I mean, and Tetris is up there too. Now there's very much a difference of what I think is the best, and then versus what is the best, you know, on a technical level or a sales figure level, stuff like that. But the fact that it is now, you know, over 20 years later, 25, 26, you know, whatever years later, and right now the biggest craze is collecting Pokemon cards from McDonald's. Like that's the sign that something has staying power. That's the sign that something is successful. Game Boy Pokemon eluded me. I didn't know what Pokemon was till junior high school, and even then, I tried watching it, and this is no offense, it just could not keep my attention. I thought it was fucking stupid. I was a Dragon Ball Z kid. Like that was my way of being superior than the Pokemon kids. It did nothing for me. When I discovered it, I think I was at that age where like I'm not a kid anymore, and like I could plainly differentiate Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z as like a kids thing and then a not kids thing. But I clearly am in the minority, and that's totally fine. The fact that we just had like this Sword and Shield come out. I'm sure we're gonna have something new this year.
Diamond Pearl remakes 2021.
So it's just remakes of Snap and Stadium or whatever they were. So
Snap is coming out like in a month or two.
Yeah.
Next
Ed,
month.
what about you?
Really?
Yeah.
So I just sent you a photo in the Slack. Those are all my Game Boy games, with Tetris not showing because.
Oh, you still have them?
Yeah, I still got both of those things.
Nice.
Yeah,
if you ever wanted to get rid of that Game Boy Color, man, you let me know because I want a Game Boy Color.
It doesn't work.
Oh, I would fix it.
Oh, really? You know where?
Yeah. I can
you know
fix
how?
it.
Oh, shit.
Look at that yellowing over time.
Yeah, because my DMG was broken not too long ago, and I fixed mine.
We need to talk.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll take care of it for you, bud.
Yeah. So, yeah, those are all the games I had. Like, once the Color came out, I think I just bought the Color because it was smaller, lighter, took less batteries and whatnot. But I didn't buy any other games other than these.
Double Dragon 2!
Because you didn't have time for the games because you had a full-time job?
Fuck you. And no, because I was more of a home console person.
You got a game that is in my top 5, and it's I love it so much.
Yeah,
is it RoboCop?
No.
And
it better be RoboCop.
And like the main reason that I bought the AC adapter for it was because of both Metroid 2 and Castlevania 2. Like they would just eat fucking batteries.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, and the only other thing I'm missing is the link cable now.
Nice.
I don't know what happened with that, but
do you need an original link cable?
Who's he linking up with?
Exactly.
Well, no, to have it though, like
no,
posterity's sake.
It's fine. No, it's fine. I'm not that into it, I guess.
I would like to point out that he has a Game Genie and a Game Shark.
Yes, I did.
Well, did you put the Game Shark in the Game Genie, then put it into...
No, the thing is that the Game Genie, when I tried to plug it into the Color, it would start to like kind of bend.
Oh.
Because it was so freaking top heavy. So that's why I bought the Shark.
So you could cheat and catch all the Pokemon.
That's how I cleared my Pokedex.
Giving me shit.
Hey, like Nick said. But I did it.
Yeah.
I would like to state that I did it the correct way, as Nintendo intended.
Well, Miyamoto loves you, all right? Shit.
way to lick those boots.
See, here's the thing. You only cleared your Pokedex. I had 151 Pokemon.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Oh, yeah. Fucking Charmander never evolved, but Charmeleon somehow showed up.
And the Charizard's just there to pick up the slack.
Yeah, but like, again, Tetris probably going to be the number one for me, but Tecmo Bowl, Metroid, Castlevania, Kid Icarus, I played the hell out of that game.
Was that the top 5?
I'll throw in Pokemon Red. Because I didn't care for Silver as much as I liked Red. And I think it was just because I had gotten so used to it. And then just like finding other Pokemon and relearning them, it just bothered me.
Oh, you're one of
Plus
those.
Plus, you can cheat it.
Yeah, I was one of those. Like after this, I never picked up a Pokemon game anymore. So
you're fine.
Yeah,
sorry, Dustin.
I'm over it.
That's fine.
No, well, the reason I picked up the first one was because like I had really started liking RPGs. Like I didn't even know it was a fucking anime until later. So yeah, Digimon all the way. But yeah, that's my story. I still got the little book for the Game Genie too.
Nice.
Does it have codes in it?
Yes, it does.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's still be here. Let me see. Yep, right in the back where intended.
That's kind of cool.
I'm bothered that Andrew's kid will never know like what it means to like have a Game Shark and
she'll know.
Oh.
Uncle Jim will make sure she knows.
And he'll teach her how to use a rotary phone and also how to pump water out of a well.
She's going to be ironic as fuck, all right?
The little pencil and the cassette to put the tape back
I'm going to get her I'm going to get her a Walkman.
Can you make sure that you do a Walkwoman, please?
Yes, you're correct. I apologize. You're correct.
No. If you want to keep it 100, it's got to be a Walkman.
Oh.
Todd, how about you, man?
I was poor, so I didn't get really anything until Pokemon. I was given my parents were separated, so my dad bought the Game Boy, my mom bought Pokemon Blue. Then I think I got a hand-me-down copy of 6 Golden Coins, and then I got Pokemon Yellow, and then I went to the Game Boy Color. And that's my only real experience with the Game Boy. I didn't play much of it, to be honest with you. Mostly, I only got it for Pokemon.
Yeah, you're not alone. I feel like that was so many people.
Blue, yellow, silver. Those are the 3.
Yep. Nice.
Whoop, whoop.
Let me just add something. Mortal Kombat sucks on the Game Boy.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, dude,
well, yeah, definitely.
It for sure does.
Wasn't that the one where the longer you held the button? No, that was Street Fighter. Never mind.
Now, I will say this, and this is going off topic a little bit. When I think of those era of handheld systems, I can't really think of many fighting games until the Game Boy Advance. The Game Boy Advance version of Street Fighter Alpha 3 is excellent. The Game Boy Advance version of King of Fighters is excellent.
Yeah, because you had more buttons.
Yeah. Well, no, you only had 2 buttons on a Game Boy Advance.
No, you had 4 because you had the L and R.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Okay. I see what you mean. I thought they were excellent. But yes, Mortal Kombat, I remember, Mortal Kombat was no good.
Mortal Kombat a 4-button fighter or a 3-button fighter?
It's a 6.
If you played if you played it on the Genesis, it was an 8.
What?
Because you had the 6 and then the 2 shoulders.
Not the
Genesis.
Genesis didn't have shoulders.
Genesis had 3 or 6.
Oh, it didn't?
No,
I was not a Genesis kid.
Yeah, Genesis had the original controller was 3, and then they came out with the 6 one.
With the 6.
And then
that's why I still can't play fucking Shaq Fu. I need to get a 6 button.
And
you got a birthday coming up, homie. All right, let's just calm down.
Time.
Sound like my mom.
So one accessory that I can't believe none of y'all mentioned, but to me is so obvious, and maybe it's not. But
shit, I forgot one, but I'm gonna let you go.
See if this is it. None of y'all had the worm light.
Okay, that was not mine.
That was I had
the book
color
light that came with it. Yeah, mine. I didn't
get
one till the color
thing that plugs into the side of the Game Boy. That's it looks like a pig's tail.
Yeah,
it coils over, and then you can kind of adjust the light to whatever.
I thought they didn't come out till the color.
It was the color, wasn't it?
No. There was one for the Game Boy.
Well, I mean, you could put it on a Game Boy, but it didn't come out till the color.
Well, maybe maybe the worm light is not the right word, but there were lights, adaptable lights, even if they were just book lights that you had to mount onto it, they still worked. But there were light accessories for the Game Boy.
The DMG I had a magnifier that had an LED light on the bottom.
That was the My Light accessory, I think is what it was called.
But I didn't use it because it looked like crap, and honestly,
it made everything looked like it was like a '90s rap music video. It was all fisheye.
I remember getting that with it and a power brick, and the power brick was the only thing I was like, oh, this is useful, because that magnetic or the magnifying light was stupid to me.
Just finding that that's kind of the part of the Game Boy experience is finding that sweet spot of light to be able to play that. Because again, I mentioned it earlier, with you had the Atari Lynx, you had the Sega Genesis, you had the Turbo. Fuck, man, I can't remember what it's called. I apologize, but it's basically a full-on TurboGrafx 16.
I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like TurboGrafx 16 that will work with the full hue cards, and all incredibly expensive. It's called the Turbo Express. Fuck. All incredibly expensive. I think the Turbo Express was $400 at one time.
Fuck that.
Compared to the $90 Game Boy. They were smart. David from Rant On, he was like, the Game Boy was bullshit. It wasn't innovative. And it's it doesn't have to be. Nintendo has never been the first at anything. You can say they were innovative with the Wii and stuff like that, and that's fine. But they know how to make money. Say what you will about Nintendo, they know what's going to sell. They don't need to be the most graphically impressive system.
Wii U.
The Wii U. I mean, well, yeah, that was definitely a misstep. I mean, they're not perfect for sure, but I'm just saying, like, they knew what they were doing. They knew that, I'm putting out something that's going to be super accessible, super cheap, and we're going to sell a ton of them. Yeah, the Game Gear, the Turbo Express, the Atari Lynx, all better systems, every one of them. But because some of them were so complicated in their build, some of them were so astronomically much more expensive that they faded away. Fuck, did you ever hear about the Sega Nomad?
Mm-hmm.
Sega Nomad is a full-on system that you could pop in any Genesis cartridge to and play the full-on Sega Genesis game. They were dumb though. They only made it available in North America, and it like the Sega Saturn was already out at that point. They had moved on from the Genesis, so
I wanted one of those though so bad.
Nomads, I think, are pretty expensive right now. I think if you try to, oof. So for me, the Booklight was kind of my only accessory. But I'll break down my 5 favorite Game Boy games. So I do want to give a special shout out to Castlevania 2. It definitely was a game that I did not like when I was a kid, but I like now just because I think I wanted it to be more like console Castlevania. So this is me making amends. Thank you, Castlevania 2.
I'm glad you saw the light, Jim.
So this list is what your current favorite games are, not what you played the most.
Well, because if what I played the most, now there are 2 games on this list that are the 2 games that I played the absolute most of on my Game Boy. So they're on there for sure. I remember having the Tiny Toons game and liking that game. But I wouldn't say, even when I was younger, I wouldn't say it was my favorite. But the 2 games that I remember constantly playing are on this list. But yes, one of them I remember playing, but just not fully understanding until I played it on the Game Boy Color. So if I'm cheating, I'm sorry, but it is what it is. So number 5, Gargoyle's Quest. Definitely a game I discovered later in life. Gargoyle's Quest is basically a side story game of the Super Ghouls and Ghosts series, or Ghosts and Goblins series, where basically the game makes no fucking sense. Like, I don't know what I'm doing in this game, but it's like Zelda 2 type. Some parts are side scroller, other parts are like open world RPG. But you're like a naked demon flying around, completing levels.
Firebrand.
Yeah, exactly. I fully enjoy this game. It's a lot of fun. I don't think I would have liked this game when I was a kid. I never played it when I was a kid for sure, but I really like it. Number 2, Metroid 2: Return to Samus. That was a game that I had when I was a kid. Played it maybe a few times and then just kind of forgot about it. But going back and playing it again, because I tried to play like 50 Game Boy games just to come up with a good definitive list. That was one that I was only going to play it for 15, 20 minutes, and I freaking ended up playing it for 3 hours. It's very good. Yep. If you don't know, basically it's the sequel to the original NES Metroid. I like this game more, I think, and maybe if I go back and revisit it, I like this game more than I think I like Super Metroid. But again, a lot of these types of games, you have to be able to suspend the fact that the graphics are so much poorer or lesser than the Super Nintendo games. You've played it.
Yeah, I've played both, and I'm gonna say there's things about both of those games that are good in their own right. I can't say one is better than the other.
Fact.
And that totally. And I think that's a good mindset to have with any games being compared between a console and a handheld, especially from this era.
Yeah.
What's that?
How do you explain the Switch?
I'm saying of that era. just because now the Switch and a TV console are one and the same.
No, not.
Well, okay. And don't be that guy.
I will.
Don't be a rant on her, okay?
The fuck?
I have to defend the Switch all the time to Geoff and David.
And the Switch runs
Well, you
Cyberpunk
say outlandish
2077.
shit about it, then yeah, okay. But
I do
continue.
like the Switch more than I like the PS4 and the by far the Xbox. Yes, I apologize. That's just my opinion. Super Mario 2, 6 golden coins. Probably my favorite game when I was a kid. It was way better than the first one for sure. And it just, I don't know, and this just goes back to how I always was as a kid. Like, it seemed like, even when I was a kid, it felt like and I probably didn't have a term for it, but it seemed like the punk rock version of Mario. It didn't have like the normal cast of characters. It was like the unpopular people in the franchise. It looks a little bit different.
Weird ass power ups.
Wasn't that the first one with Wario in it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's where you met Wario.
Weird ass power ups like bunny ears.
Yeah. So, I loved that game when I was a kid, and I absolutely
Mario's
still love
furry.
it.
Well,
damn
yeah,
sure.
we know that.
The number 2, Tetris. Again, any game that I can still play for hours upon. If I wanted to, I could play Tetris for multiple hours, just trying to beat my own high score.
Am I the only one that can't do that?
I don't know, man. It's definitely if you're the type of person that just likes to see like things go where they're supposed to go, like if you're the type of person that loves just like alphabetizing shit and doing word searches and stuff, I don't know.
Like if you have a lot of OCD.
Yeah, and I have the worst ADHD, and just being able to watch things like fall into the place that they're supposed to fall into. To me, there's like nothing more
Real
satisfying.
Quick, the boss that's on screen right now is one of my favorite bosses.
Oh yeah,
the little bird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I never played this game.
It's worth going back to.
Good game
for sure. That was my number 2. Number 1, it's no surprise. It's literally probably one of my favorite games of all time, and it's The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. Now, this was a game I did have because I had Link to the Past on the Super Nintendo at this point, and this game came out a little bit after Link to the Past did for the Super Nintendo. I could do an entire episode on Link's Awakening. I would love to. It is my favorite Zelda game of all time. It's fantastic. I got this on the Game Boy, I think, as like my cousin let me borrow it, and I didn't get it because you got to kind of figure some shit out on your own. And it wasn't until I had a Game Boy Advance that I got the Link's Awakening DX version. And I was a little bit older, so I understood it a little bit more. And I absolutely fucking loved it. I thought it was super weird. And then later on to find out that it was inspired by TV shows like Twin Peaks. It explains a lot. It again, kind of like with Mario Land, it was like the punk rock version of Zelda. There's no Ganon. There's no fucking Zelda. You know what I mean? Like it's there's spoilers. You're in a fucking fish's dream. Like what the fuck? There's a giant egg in the sky. So,
I love that Todd's only showing the Switch version.
Okay,
well, no, he was showing a side by side earlier.
No, I know.
And that's okay. I so recommend you play whatever version of this game is most comfortable. And if that is the Switch version, if you're just the kind of person that I wants those original or wants like the most modern graphics, excuse me, get the Switch version. It's super accessible. It's adorable. The soundtrack is excellent. There are some moments where it has slowdown, just like it did in the Game Boy Color version. It's a game that you could beat if you wanted to explore everything in under 15 hours. If you wanted to, you could do it even under 10 if you really wanted to. But yeah, absolutely incredible game. I kind of want to play through it again right now. But it's for just the future reference. It is my favorite Game Boy and my favorite Game Boy Color game. I don't think anything would be able to beat that either.
Wait, this game was original Brick Boy?
Original Brick Boy, yes.
Oh crap! I had this one too. Damn, I totally forgot about it.
Nice.
Yeah,
the original Brick Boy, and then there was DX that came out for the Game Boy Color. And then now we have the Switch version.
Yeah, the one that was exclusive to the Color was the Oracle of Ages and Seasons one.
Yes, Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons. Yep.
Yeah, I remember this because I wanted it so freaking bad when I only had the DMG, and I was like, well, can't play that.
I actually just started. I turned it on for the first time. I have never played Oracle of Ages and Seasons.
I
played
Ages.
One of them. Which one was the green one? No, the blue one.
Ages.
Seasons.
No, Ages. Seasons is
Oh,
red.
yeah, Seasons is red. My bad.
Okay, yeah, I played that one.
Nice.
I don't think I ever finished it.
One of the best Capcom games ever.
Oh yeah, and that was the era where Nintendo started giving Capcom the ability to make Zelda games, and I love. And again, this is for the Advance, but I love Minish Cap, which is a Capcom made Zelda game.
What about Spirit Tracks?
Spirit Tracks was great though.
But I liked Phantom Hourglass.
What about Four Swords Adventures?
Never played
that
Four
game.
Swords Adventures.
I didn't have 3 friends.
You can play it on your own.
Yeah, that was me.
So, am I the only one that did? I guess I am. I didn't like Link's Awakening and still don't.
I mean,
yeah,
I borrowed Jim's.
Hey,
copy
Justin,
for the
good
Switch.
luck on your future endeavors.
Okay, I'll just go to AEW now. Thanks.
I
Like
borrowed
everybody
Jim's
else.
copy for the Switch, and I
Wait,
just couldn't get
Is
into
Link's
it.
Awakening the one where you go to the Shadow Realm and you turn into a rabbit?
No, that
No.
is Link to
That's
the
Link to the
Past.
Past.
That's Link to the Past.
Oh, okay, I played
the
that
best
one. So
Zelda game.
I never played
Yes.
Link's Awakening.
Second
Yeah,
best.
Link's Awakening came out after Link to the Past.
Yeah, because this game almost got scrapped because.
So it's got a very cool story, which is probably why I like the game so much. So like this was they were originally supposed to just port Link to the Past to the Game Boy. Like that was what it started out as. But I think just due to budget constraints and just like it was R&D 4 who came up with it, not R&D 1. But just like. I mean, Kirby is in this game. Yoshi is in this game. There's a Chain Chomp in this game. Like, they did whatever the fuck they wanted before they showed, Miyamoto. And then Miyamoto was just like, all right, just keep going with it. And so
you know why?
Why?
So a lot of the
high on cocaine.
No, so ironically, a lot of the assets used in this game where they didn't have the time or the resources to draw like individual assets. That's why they have like Goombas, Kirby, and all that stuff. And then they were like, Miyamoto was like, well, no one's going to care. It's on the Game Boy. And they put it on it. And then it turned out he was like, oh, this is actually incredibly popular.
If you look at most people's top 10 lists, this is in the top 3, I think, most of the time for these era of lists. It bums me out so much that you don't like this game, Justin.
I have a bad history. This is one of the ones I rented a lot, and I could never figure out it or understood it, and I didn't beat it until I was.
Yeah, I think so. For me, playing it on the Game Boy Advance, the DX version, the color version.
Yeah,
I think for me is that I did figure it out without going to like cheatcc.com or one of those early code websites or help walkthrough websites. I did figure it out, and I think that might be another reason why is like. It was one of those games. Like I loved these giant, puzzle-based games, or giant by those standards. But I never could finish them without help. And this one, it took time, but I was able to finish it, without help. So I think that's and that never happens for me. Again, I'm not smart with video games. I need all the help I can get. So.
I mean, part of it too was, I'll admit, I didn't buy this until DX came out, and by that point, Ocarina of Time was out, and I was like, this isn't Ocarina of Time. So I gave up on...
And see, I like this game so much more than I like Ocarina of
Time.
And see, I'm like the opposite. I tried playing Ocarina of Time, and I'm like, this is no Link to the Past.
Exactly. And I don't know if that's just an age thing, even though we're all remote, pretty close in age, I don't know if it's an age thing. I don't know if it's just I played this first, so I feel this way.
Well,
that's what I think it is.
Because I played Ocarina first. That was
what was your
same?
Well, virgin busting Zelda game.
I mean, for me, it's the original Zelda. That's the one that I first played. Then I played the second one, and I was like, no. Then I played Link to the Past, and that's my favorite one. I've played a couple more, and I'm just like, I've never finished them because I just can't like them.
I do want to do, because again, I know we're coming to the end of the episode.
Just so fucking mad.
Why?
So
wait,
mad.
Are you mad?
No, you're mad.
No, I'm not mad. If we do a Legend of Zelda episode, to commemorate the 35th anniversary this year, if I ranked all of the games, and I know that would be hard because there are some that I have not played, I think everybody would be really mad at my list.
Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild.
So Breath of the Wild, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask would all be on the back half of that list.
Oof.
Wow.
And I know that that's the I know that that's the now I like Ocarina of Time a lot. Majora's Mask is one that I have never beaten, but I've played a ton of.
It's my favorite one.
Yeah,
Majora's Mask, that's my wife's favorite one too. Breath of the Wild is one of those games where, like, if it wasn't a Zelda game, it'd be a top 10 game for me. But the fact that it is Zelda but it's not Zelda, if that makes sense. And I know that that's kind of gatekeepy, but it's just, I hate the fact that there's like barely any music. It's just random ass piano notes. I hate the fact that it's so. It just didn't feel. It felt big, but it didn't feel epic.
But so have you Link's Awakening?
So have you played Immortals Phoenix Rising?
So that game is actually half off right now.
It's always half
fully
off.
Free. Genshin Impact.
Genshin Impact is a complete ripoff of Breath of the Wild.
Hey, yeah, there's a lot of aspects in there.
Oh god,
I wouldn't even put it in the same category. It's
just we're deterring off.
I respect Genshin more than anything. Go for it, man. Whoever's playing Genshin, go for it.
Well, Kristen will thank you, and she'll sleep fine knowing if you had the approval or not.
Actually, it's funny because I downloaded Genshin Impact on my phone, and I'm playing it, and it's that very beginning. I don't know if you've played it, Andrew, where it gets to like that big white screen, like right after when you have to choose between which twin you play as.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the first time I discovered that I did not. Hold on one second, guys. It's the first time that I didn't discover that I had a crack in my phone.
Oh wow!
Right, hold on one second, guys.
Yeah,
Genshin Impact cracking phones.
It's
too epic.
That gotcha gameplay, man. That's what
dude,
it is.
Dude,
wait,
I downloaded that. I tried it, and I'm like, nope.
I keep trying for her because there's that multiplayer aspect of it.
Nope.
But oh my god, is it just a slog?
Apparently,
they have on my PS4 and it busted it.
Apparently, they have another
Wait,
game that's like not as gotcha as this one, but I don't know if it's any better or not.
Well, what's funny it is that because they've my roommate and Kristen, they've gotten to play with other friends in the multiplayer aspect of it, and like I'm like adventure rank 12, I think, and you think you have to be 16 to do multiplayer. And she comes up to me the other day and she's like, "Yeah, multiplayer Genshin Impact isn't as fun."
How much money has she dropped in on wishes, though, is the real question of the day.
None.
The entire stimmy.
$2,800 or no? 30?
So Andrew,
whatever.
28.
So when she told you that, is that when you're like, I can finally uninstall it?
So there was an update that came out, and I was like, I ain't gonna worry about that. So like, I will say this, like, because there is that aspect of like, I want to be able to like, okay, I can understand some of these words you're saying, and you know, You know, it's like that compatible. Like I wanted to at least, you know what you're talking about, kind of things that keeps me kind of going. But
but that's the thing about relationships. We both don't have to share every interest. I mean, we all know how much she loves Payday.
Yeah, she does not love Payday.
Exactly.
But I mean,
by the way,
you are going to have to learn these skills for when your daughter grows up, and then you're going to have to understand the lingo.
By the way, did we bring up since the last episode they announced Payday 3?
No, we have not brought up that. Not on stream. We brought it up in our own personal site.
But it's not retro.
Not retro, so we can't talk about it.
We can talk about Payday. That's fine. I know that's a very important game.
Can I give myself a quick pat on the back that right before Jim left, I realized I have a 1.07 KD in Halo right now.
Against who?
Computer? No.
Oh, whoa.
No, not computer. Against people.
You made yourself sound so much worse.
Oh, you did.
Yeah. But, okay.
But yeah, hey, we got a new heist for Payday 2. You know, maybe one day we'll play it, huh?
I have that game downloaded and no one's ever on to play it.
We invited you earlier and you were like, yeah, I'll do it. Nope.
Yeah, when
did y'all invite me?
There was the day that you were playing Destiny 2, and you said, the next day, tomorrow, I'll play with you guys, and I never heard from you.
I just gotta watch the Discord. That's a different conversation.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys. Well, with that, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it.
Wait. The Super Game Boy. That was the accessory.
Oh, right.
Oh, wow.
Is that a Super Nintendo accessory or a Game Boy accessory?
It is both.
Yes.
This will come up in the Super Nintendo episode as well.
Yes. All right. Well, hey, guys. Well, we really appreciate it. Remember, every other Sunday, we are live on twitch.tv/rantingmedia doing a kind of just a live version. You might hear some extra little content that we want to talk about, breaking up when we actually, edit the podcast or whatnot. You might get the before show, you might get the after show. But yeah, we really appreciate it, guys. For Todd, Andrew, Ed, Nick, Justin, Jim Tindo, 86 here. You guys have a wonderful night.
Are we all supposed to have like a weird thing like that?